You're getting to be a big boy.
Hey guys, and welcome to another video. Sorry if my voice sounds a little bit weird. I am sick, that's why this video came out so late. But yeah, today I'm going to talk to you about my opinions on the Crew 2. So I recently picked up the Crew 2 and I wasn't actually going to pick it up, mainly because I didn't like the first one. And I didn't like the idea of the boats and planes and being able to switch from plane to car to boat instantly. But after playing the game and finishing it in 3 days straight, my opinion has changed. So here's my opinion on the Crew 2. First up is the racing leagues. There are 4 leagues that you come across in the Crew 2 and one extra one, which is the live events, which when you level up you get to do a race. The first league is street racing that has 4 discipline types that are street racing, drift, drag and hypercars. Another league is freestyle, which is aerobatics, monster trucks and jet sprint. Then there is pro racing, which consists of Alpha GT, touring cars and boat racing and plane racing. And last, which is off-road, which has rally raid, rallycross and dirt bikes. They all have one thing in common, and that's the AI. It's probably the worst AI that I've seen in a game in a very long time. They have absolutely no intelligence at all. There's no strategy for them except rubber banding. This is actually the most annoying thing, and I have already lost the controller to raging at the game. The rubber banding is the worst part of the game. It really gets annoying when you're in a race and you've been leading the whole lap and the whole time, and you tap a wall 98% before the finish, and 10 cars came flying past you out of nowhere and you lose the race. It's even worse on hypercar races where they're 20 to 40 minutes long. It doesn't matter if your perf level is double what the race requires. The AI still find a way to catch up. The only good thing about it is that I was always on the edge of my seat, even when I was far ahead of the AI. Another thing was the checkpoints. Most of the time, the map isn't clear about where the checkpoints are, meaning you often miss turns and that can throw your race. AIs also skip the checkpoints. This is a bit unfair on the player, as the AI rubber band the whole time anyway. After you miss a turn, the restart button to get you back on the track takes a long time anyway, so if you're leading by 300 meters, you end up being like 10th in the pack because the loading takes that long. If you're wondering about the Hannah Montana intro, I honestly don't know why I did it either, but yeah, back to the video. The Crew 2 currency is all around dodgy. The prices of cars are so weird and don't match real life prices or the actual worth of the car. Like for example, somehow a 2017 Miata is twice the price of an RX-7 and a Skyline R34. Yes, you heard me right. A stock 2017 Miata costs more than an R34. In what other game is a rare R34 more than a Miata? I thought it was bad enough that the cheapest car in Forza Horizon 2 went from being $9,000 to $25,000 in Forza Horizon 3. Okay, so you've decided to get that Miata. You would think it would only take like a race or two to get the money. Wrong. Most races only reward around 15k, which means instead you have to do 20 races just to get the car. And then you have to get more to get the upgrades. It honestly doesn't make sense. The visual customization is better than I thought it was going to be. Most cars have at least some customization, and the prices aren't too bad. As expected, some race cars don't have any, and I found it cool that the more expensive the car, the more expensive the parts for that car cost. It was a little bit disappointing that, like the 2015 GTR, only had factory parts and 3 different factory rims. I was expecting it to have one of the most customization being a GTR, but there was some really good customization as in the RX-7, the R34. I disliked the performance parts so much, and I was utterly disappointed. The only way you could earn performance parts is by completing races and events, or in crates you find around the map. It was really disappointing that you couldn't just buy parts. This was because I sometimes found myself stuck when I had completed all the races and my perf level was still too low to continue on to the next race. This meant that I had to redo a lot of races to get parts to level up my perf. It would have been much easier and less frustrating to buy parts when my perf was too low, and this would make it easier to upgrade new cars you buy. The Crew 2 map is one of the best maps in an open world racing game, mainly because it's based on the USA map and it's one of the biggest. The main problem was it wasn't as polished as the first game's map, and some buildings and landscapes looked like they were out of a game made in 2001. It also felt really bland and empty, with only 8 people in a lobby at once made it hard to interact with players. The planes in the Crew 2 aren't too bad. They are fairly easy to use and make it easier to get to destinations. The aerobatics are pretty easy, but sometimes your trick isn't picked up by the score counter. Plane racing though is really hard and I really hate it. It is hard to get the hang of it sometimes and it doesn't pick up your orientation correctly. I found even with my perf level being higher than needed, it still was impossible to beat. The cars in the Crew 2 handle alright, but they're not as realistic as other games like Forza. Turning sometimes is a bit weird and it feels like you never have traction and you're drifting the whole time. Drifting doesn't feel the best and I don't feel you get much angle. You're always relying on your NOS to keep you up to speed. Drag racing is hard at first but easy to master once you know the tricks. Hypercars and street racing are okay apart from the fact that the rubber banding and bad checkpoints, and GT and GP cars felt a bit more grippy but had lots of oversteer. The car selection in the Crew 2 isn't too bad, but it isn't as good as other games. My only wish was if there was more JDM cars. The boats were what I hated most about the game. The jet sprint was okay and the small boats handled nice and easy, but the race boats were the hardest. They were big and clunky and they were hard to maneuver. They didn't feel smooth and they were very bouncy across the water. The AI was too often rubber banding away, even when my perf level was heaps higher. I didn't like the race boats, but they were fun to adventure around with. And I mean, it's a boat, so I don't know what I was expecting. Overall, the game wasn't too bad, but it did have some flaws. I particularly liked the map and the home base with its vehicle-based levels. I like the story and it didn't jump out at me because literally it's the same as every other racing game. Start at the bottom, win races in different leagues, defeat the league's boss, face a big race, win and become the champion. I mean, NFS and Forza Horizon have literally had the same concept. Can a racing game come up with something original for once? But yeah, the Crew 2 isn't the best game I've played, but it's not the worst. And I had fun playing it when I wasn't raging. But yeah, that's my thoughts on the Crew 2. Thank you for watching. I hope my voice isn't too bad for you. I mean, I was sick, so that's why this video is coming out late. But yeah, I am maybe going to start doing some live streams on YouTube and Twitch because I know this mic isn't the best, so I'm trying to save up for a blue snowball. So maybe I might do some live streams if you guys would like that, so I could get a little bit of money to help raise for a blue snowball. But yeah, overall the Crew 2 isn't that bad. I mean, I had fun playing it. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope if anyone made to the end of this almost 10-minute video. So yeah, thank you so much and I will see you in the next video. Peace out, guys.